What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and this is one of those videos you do not want to miss because I'm going to go into a lot of detail about why tomorrow is going to be a massive day for the market, for futures, for the economy, and for the Fed because we have the CPI report coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So what I'm going to do in this video is break down how on earth the previous CPI reports have affected Tesla historically, how they may affect Tesla going forward, how this could affect the economy, and also why on earth this new CPI coming out for tomorrow is expected to be very, very hot. I want to talk about its significance, how it will affect Tesla, and actually break down some specific numbers that could end up coming out as hypotheticals and how they could affect Tesla and the market going forward. I'm also going to talk about what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk, and also what Musk tweeted on his Twitter page, which is good news for Tesla's products for the future. Now, before I break any of this information down and any of this data, it's going to be a very in-depth video, so you don't want to miss this one. I have to mention a couple of things before starting. Real quick, firstly, as you know, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,500. And the best part is, out of the 10 free stocks, 5 are going to come from the wheel right here, meaning you could win 5 free Tesla shares, 5 free AMC shares, or a mix of all of them in this limited time offer that ends in just 3 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So the first thing I want to talk about is why CPI is very important, just real quick. I did mention this yesterday, but CPI, if you don't know already, it's one of the major inflationary measures that many big economists and investors use all over the world. And this in turn is widely accepted as the inflation rate. Now, the thing about CPI is it has a tendency of either understating or overstating, and Jerome Powell has kind of implied that it has been kind of understating the true value. And I'm well aware that the numbers can be manipulated, but we have to go based off these numbers because this is what big companies, hedge funds, institutions and banks use when it comes to their future policies and actions. So CPI is coming out tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, an hour before the market opens. So keep that in your calendars. It's coming out very soon. And it's expected to reach 8.8% year over year, according to the Dow Jones. That's insane. Core inflation, excluding gasoline and food, is expected to go from 6% in May to 5.7%, showing there is a bit of a decrease in some sectors, but gasoline energy is really going to kind of inflate it and most likely cause it to actually go up again. So just to give some context, just real quick, let me go over this one last time. If you saw this already, you could kind of skip this part. But like I said before, if you guys haven't noticed, gas prices have just been soaring and soaring and soaring. In May alone, we had, the highest number we saw in decades. And then what happened was June ended up breaking that record. And now we're seeing this thing just, peaking again, which is a big indication that CPI is most likely going to come out high. So just to break down the numbers specifically, for May 2022, the average gas price in the USA for retail was $4.55, or I just rounded that up just a little bit. And in June, it went up to about $5 flat. So it's up almost 10%. It's most likely going to cause the data to not look the best. So why is that important? Just real quick, CPI or inflation is going to affect the Fed's policies, and this is leading to lots of articles, lots of things coming out about the Fed being a lot more aggressive, and it's causing a lot of people to kind of lose faith in the Fed and their control over this situation because the Fed uses open market operations to start dealing with these issues. The question is, what are they going to do next? All the eyes are going to be on Jerome Powell. Is he going to be a lot more hawkish and aggressive? If that's the case, it could cause more bearish price action for the markets. So that's something very important to note. But now what I want to do is kind of shift into how this has affected Tesla historically. So just so you know, the SPY, the NASDAQ, the overall market, they're kind of running in unison. They tend to be correlated. I mean, right now, the market is basically red. Tesla was red as well. And what I did is I actually put these vertical lines here for the different CPI report dates that actually came out. And I could actually verify it with the numbers right here or the dates. And let's just start off with how this ended up affecting Tesla. So let me go right here. So I know there are all these numbers, it's a little bit confusing, but right here I have the different months and the CPI reports that came out. So in the very bottom column right here, it's a little bit hard to see. Just look at these highlighted numbers. Please ignore everything else. When we started 2022, in February, the report came out for the month of January. Inflation was 7.5%, or at least that's what the report suggested. And this was on February 10th. And look what happened after Tesla saw that report. You could see we had massive red candles, a bit of relief, and then we saw a lot more red after that. We had this big downward trend when inflation was that high. Then the next report comes out in the month of March. The report came for the month of February. So just to remind you guys, when the reports come out, they reported the month before. So right now we're still in mid-July or close to mid-July. The numbers are going to come out for June because June was the previous month that ended. With that said, March's numbers finally came. I'm sorry, in March, the numbers came for the month of February, and you could see 7.9% inflation was reported. That's still very high. And you could see how Tesla responded. First, Tesla actually saw a drop like this. Tesla went from about $859 a share and it dropped all the way down to that 740 mark for about a couple of days. But then it managed to get a bit of a temporary relief rally. It pushed all the way up to 1152 after that. So it goes to show it's not always going to head in one direction. But when we have these dates, we have a tendency of dropping, right? The first one we dropped, the second one we dropped, and then we had this one right here. So then the next one came out in April. And in April, the numbers came out for March, and it came out at 8.5%, which many believed to be the peak. It was not the peak, and that was actually pretty high, and the market did not like that. So, what did Tesla do? The report comes out, the market was actually kind of sideways at first, and this was kind of like in response to anticipation because we did expect it. We weren't necessarily caught off guard, but you could see going into this, we were in this downward trend. And what happened is we traded sideways, then we saw a big drop again. And this wasn't solely because of CPI, also the Fed and other factors played a big role. We also had the things going on in China with the lockdowns. And we just saw Tesla kind of plummet from there. What happened in May, just to bring this up right here, these are the numbers for April: 8.3% inflation or CPI report. That still is pretty darn high. And you could see Tesla was just on this downward trend. It continued from there. Once again, it's not solely because of the CPI report. There were many other factors that played a role, especially the global chip shortage and other things like that. What was going on in China, Ukraine, all those things that also played a big role in what was happening with the market. A lot of fear was kind of driven, and big outlets, they took big advantage of this. And you could see Tesla was on this downward trend. It continued after the other high reports. And then what happened during the latest one, this is where things become interesting. The latest report comes out for the month of May. It came out in June at 8.6%, which was a new high in CPI. And you could see how Tesla responded was going into it, Tesla pushed up. It started to actually drop as we approached the date, and it started dropping and dropping and dropping, got a little relief, pushed down a little bit more. We actually bottomed out at $626. Then we got a push up after that. And since then, I mean, we did see some relief, but it's looking like we're getting ready for some more red. I mean, look at that giant red candle we're seeing. The report's about to come out. So to me personally, it seems very probable that we're either going to be sideways or see a lot of red depending on the report. And I do think red seems a lot more probable because of what the data is suggesting. So, considering that gas prices kept on going up, inflation or the reported data is probably going to be hot, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a continuation of the downtrend and we see Tesla actually drop a bit more. So, let's actually go over some specific numbers right over here. I kind of mapped this out for you in a very simple to understand way. So the last report that came out was 8.6%. That was including gas and energy and etc. and food. So Relative to that, in my opinion, if we get something like 8.4 to 8.5%, that would still be pretty good. I mean, inflation being that high in general is not good, but it would be a sign of a downtrend in the CPI report. So the market could actually respond positively if it is this low. Now, is that going to happen? It's extremely unlikely it's actually going to be that low, in my opinion. I mean, I just showed you the data. Gas was just going up. Other commodities were also going up too, so not looking too good. 8.6% would be kind of okay. I mean, it would be the same as last month's report. Do I see that happening? It's also extremely unlikely for it to be the same as last month's, considering that energy was going up and CPI has a tendency of weighing in energy a lot more than PCE data and other metrics. Now, what's more likely to happen is an 8.7 to 8.8% rate that comes out. Unfortunately, I do see this as being more probable, and that would be pretty bad. It's just that the market has started to already price this in, and futures and a lot of the market already is kind of prepared for this. I mean, we're already seeing this in reports, so it shouldn't be an extremely crazy drop. I don't think Tesla would just crash all the way down to the 500s if that were to be the case. I still think we could actually hold up if we do get a report like that. It won't be as bad as some people may make it seem. But if we get something above that 8.8% mark, that's going to be pretty horrible, in my opinion. It's going to be bad. That's not going to be good. If it's actually even higher, and that's also very possible, the market is going to respond, and most likely in a very negative way. And anything above 9% will be horrible, very, very horrible, because we're getting close to that double digit mark. We could see a lot of sell pressure because of that. So these are essentially the numbers you should look out for. Now, when it comes to this being the most probable outcome, in my opinion, I would say 8.7 to 8.8%, and maybe even 8.9%. I would say these three are the most probable outcomes. You could see it's either going to be pretty bad or bad, and that's most likely what the numbers are going to suggest, in my opinion. So, how may this affect Tesla's share price? It's really difficult to predict how low it will go. And the best thing to do is kind of me just reviewing support and resistance levels, right? That's essentially the best way for me to do this. And let me switch over to my other chart. I think I have the numbers here a little bit better looking. So I'm going to go into the 5 minute candles. I'm not going to draw this out. I'm just going to kind of explain it to you just to make this as simple as possible, because there's no way I could draw this out. There's so many possibilities, but downside just seems much more probable. So if Tesla did push up somehow, miraculously, this thing is going to have strong resistance at around that 720 range, and I don't really see that happening. It's extremely unlikely if CPI is going to come out good. I just don't see that. If it pushes higher, it could go to 730. Just once again, extremely unlikely. I don't see that. What's much more likely to happen is Tesla drops and we test $685 a share to 680. And in my opinion, I mean, CPI is most likely not going to be good. We're probably going to drop below that as far as that 666 to 653 level. Now, why did I say 666? It's because of the fact that that's exactly where Tesla's support zone happened to be. I could actually show you that a couple of days ago. That's where Tesla actually got a nice bounce way back at 666, I think a couple of weeks ago. So that is one of the big support zones, not to mention that 650 range. So I know it's like a sign people don't like to hear. It's the uncomfortable truth. We could see Tesla dropping as low as that 650, in my opinion, if things are really, really bad, or even lower than that. We could continue to downtrend. It's very much in the realm of possibility. Now, will Tesla test 626? I can't really promise that. It really depends on how we react and what the actual numbers are. But I just want to warn you guys that downside seems very, very imminent and a lot more likely than us kind of rallying after tomorrow. So be on the lookout for 680, 666, 650, 640, and 626. Those are the key zones. I mean, it's very hard to predict exactly where it's going to go. I specifically think that that 650 to 640 level is very possible. I mean, I really hate to be as real as I am right now. And I really hate to say that, but it's just not looking pretty based off the data, based off the reports that are coming out. Additionally, another reason as to why I think us dropping down is a lot more likely is because this news came out. Twitter has taken Elon Musk to court. They are suing him, and that's, I mean, the whole thing is just a massive mess. I mean, it's just crazy. The whole lawsuits are going to be lengthy and expensive with high stakes. And Elon Musk's attorney stated that Twitter did not comply with their obligations in the whole Twitter agreement, whereas now Twitter is suing Elon Musk for similar things. I mean, it's just a big mess. I don't really want to go into too much detail about this. The bottom line is, if investors find out their CEO is getting sued by a major business, a huge business like Twitter, that's not going to be looking good in their eyes either. In my opinion, downside just seems a lot more imminent based off this and other pieces of news. Now, when it comes to Elon Musk's Twitter page, I mean, there wasn't really too much that he said that was significant. This person known as Alex stated that to those DMing me about how Tesla's 4680 structural pack is non recyclable or low recyclability, I believe you are incorrect. And then Elon Musk responded with no problem to recycle the 4680 pack. Just think of any battery pack as super high grade ore, and it's always better to start with the high grade ore than the low grade. So once again, that's a very cool thing that he mentioned. Them being able to recycle them is awesome. Should be good for their product lines for the future. But other than that, I mean, I have to be as real and honest with you all as possible. Tesla does look like it's going to test these lower levels going into the next couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes to that 650 range because Elon Musk is getting sued and also because CPI is most likely not going to be good, in my opinion. With that said and done, please prepare yourselves, be strong, remain calm, cool, and collected. And remember, as I always mention, this is a temporary obstacle. It's not going to last forever. This is all just temporary because eventually the markets will recover. Eventually, we will make a comeback. It requires patience, it requires time. So get ready, everyone. Stay strong. CPI is coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.